The Asset Verification Committee wey dem form to investigate some activities under the last government don discover say the Godwin Obaseki-led administration leave big debt of about 200 billion naira for the new government under Governor Monday Okpebholo. Say this debt na for outstanding payment to contractors wey dem only give mobilization fees, and for some of the cases, dem say the contractors don even pay some of the mobilization money back to government officials. Dr. Ernest Afolabi Umakhihe, wey be the chairman of the Asset Verification Committee, yarn this one for one to talk with Tori people for Benin City, Edo State. In talk say the Okpebholo government no fit deny Edo people better road network, especially for this dry season. That's now why they inform the government say need dey to act quick to approve the ongoing road project. Say road infrastructure gets big outstanding commitment, and say no matter wetin the findings show, the government must use the dry season well to help with road construction. The chairman come also talk say the way dem award the major contracts, dem not follow the Edo State Public Procurement Law, and say it don't cause many dubious changes to the original contract amount, as some of the changes even pass the original price.
I invite you this morning to update you and the general public that the Asset Verification Committee will be closing for the year, and we felt the need to avail the public some of our findings, which form an interim report we have forwarded to the governor to act on. While the committee will resume on January 6th to continue its assignment as captured in its terms of reference, there is the need to present some findings to guide the operations of government and governance. We have informed Mr. Governor that there is the need to utilize the opportunity of this dry season to continue some of the hurriedly awarded road projects across the state, ostensibly informed by the election of September 2024. Most of the ongoing projects were awarded during the year 2024, and that leaves the new government with a huge burden amounting to about 200 billion being outstanding commitments to contractors who were only given mobilization, which in some cases were paid back to government officials as disclosed by some contractors. This, of course, has slowed down the pace of work. We cannot deny Edo people the opportunity of good road network, especially during this dry season. Hence the need for government to quickly act in good time to sustain some of the ongoing road projects. There are huge outstanding commitments in respect of road infrastructure. No matter how indecent some of our findings are, the government has to explore the dry season to make an appreciable intervention in road construction. We also observe poor level of supervision by the supervisory ministries, departments, and agencies. Some road projects were not properly documented, even in the records of the Ministry of Roads and Bridges, now Ministry of Works. There were also non-adherence to the Edo State Public Procurement Law in the award of major contracts, which also led to several dubious variations of contract sums. In some cases, the variations were higher than the initial contract sum.
Dr. Afolabi Umakhihe come also chook mouth on top the Radisson Hotel project, say the project starts when the state government raised over 17.5 billion naira from the stock market and paid 2 billion naira for land acquisition, but before the last administration come out, the ownership changed, and say Edo State only hold 20% of the project. He constantly talk about the Museum of West African Art, MOA, and also chook mouth on top how much the last administration they pay for only cyber security software license for Edo Gov platform for 3 years from 2023 to 2025, and how much they don't pay since. Dr. Afolabi talk say them go continue the investigation when they meet again by January 6, 2025, and them go look into other important areas like housing, education, suburb and Edo Best, the Ministry of Environment, health projects, agricultural grants, Edo Oil Palm project, Etsopadek, MOA, the Edo Electrification Agency, the sale of shares for Boa Cement, and the modular refinery, plus others.
The transaction on the Radisson Hotel project leaves much to be desired. Whilst the project was initiated by the state government by sourcing for over 17.5 billion from the stock market and an initial payment of 2 billion for acquisition of land, it is noted that just before the exit of the immediate past administration, the ownership has changed, leaving Edo State, the core investor, with 20% ownership. This has to change. the state government must assume its prime position as the core investor and owner of the Radisson Hotel. We will avail you more details in our final report. We also observed that some agencies were created by the last administration to execute some specific interest-based projects. They reported directly to the governor, and information about them, as we speak, are not readily available. The Edo State Oil Palm Project Office is one of such agencies. This opaque approach necessitated the use of consultants with huge financial commitments expended by the past government. The Museum of West African Arts, MOWA, is captured as an independent private trust sitting on government land. The Ministry of Arts, Culture and Tourism has no minimal supervision on the project. To date, Edo State has no equity stake in MOWA, even though the state has spent $3.8 billion as contribution. The Greenfields Consultancy and Allied Services Limited and Green Zone Technology took over the role of Edo State Information Communication Technology Agency in engaging contractors and vendors for Edo State government technology projects. They were in charge of identifying projects to be executed and selecting the vendors to execute them. Too much of bogus claims were replete in this sector. You can imagine the Edo State government committed to paying over $5 billion for cyber security software license for the Edo Gov platform for just 3 years, starting from 2023 to 2025. Out of this sum, 1.7 has already been paid by the immediate past government. These are some of the snippets of what we have unraveled. The job of the committee is still large. By 6th January 2025, when we return, we'll be looking at other critical sectors of the state, the housing sector, education, SUBEB and Edo Best, the Ministry of Environment, College of Health Sciences and Technology, College of Nursing Sciences, the Ministry of Health, all agricultural projects, including grants from donor agencies, Edo Oil Palm Project, ESOPADEC, MOWA, Edo Electrification Agency, sale of shares in Boa Cement, the modular refinery, amongst others. We just feel it's important to keep the public in the know of what we have done in the last 3 weeks. The work is not done yet, but we are optimistic that with our commitment to details, we will come out with a comprehensive capture of all Edo State assets and liabilities that will guide the new government in making informed decisions henceforth.
For their responses to questions by Turi people, the committee can talk say,
Reading here of Nigerian Observer, before the end of the last administration, Observer was printing twice in a week, Mondays and Fridays. And for the past 1 month plus, it has not been coming out. And from our inquiries, I gather that the printing press in Nigerian Observer does not belong to the state government. And the management of the printing press said they can only print if Nigerian Observer decides to pay for the services they are going to render. And a few weeks to the end of the last administration, Nigerian Observer was commissioned as a remodeled newspaper. So we're interested in knowing, the status of Nigerian Observer as it is today. So I think it's an area that the committee should also look into. Thank you.
On the MOWA. Now, MOWA is an independent entity driven by foreign investors and all that, like we were told. And now,
driven by local investors, not foreign.
Local investors. It's a West African project. Okay. So, in that case, now we are aware that the state government doesn't have any entity there, and what the operators of that particular MOWA told us before now was that the only stake there is the land, which belongs to the state government. Now, with all of these findings, investigations ongoing, is there any attempt to stop the project? Because on a daily basis, work is ongoing. And if, like you said now, that some percentage of millions have been spent there from government purse, billions of naira, who is going to pay that money? Because the state is losing funds to a project that will not benefit them or that they don't have an interest. So where are we going from there now?
contractual that the land is owned by the state, and the state has even made a contribution of 3.8 billion, already disbursed. So there are processes to follow. We also meet with the governor on what next to do. If you say work is going on there, yes, we cannot stop work there immediately. If the project is going to be beneficial to the government, it's the governor that will decide what next step to take. If it's to take ownership, then we'll proceed from there.
You are doing museums of West African arts in Benin, and the driver of that particular platform is not Benin, which is the headquarters of culture and tourism in terms of, the propensity and even the recognition globally of the Benin arts. So it's like you are calling a stranger to come and define how you build your house and all that. It's quite strange. But these are some of the things we encounter. That same book we are talking about, all of you know the story. You know that place was owned by someone in this state. You know that it was bought by those people. They took money elsewhere and all that. And they formed different companies. Tilbury is one company. Genesis Incorporated is another company. That's a parent company that's, that took almost 80% of ownership. We that have spent so much money as a state government are giving us 20%. And so these guys were just conquistadorial, to borrow the word of Patrick Obahama. They were just, exploitive. Lagos cowboys. That's just the truth.
Make una not forget, say, as we see am, now so we dey talk am, we not the take blame. From Benin City, Ekata Ojiseli, TMC TV News.